is the Emperor bringing this up again? Hasn't he been embarrassed enough already?
Apparently not. He wants Swin and Del to pay for their little scam.
Please, they gave him exactly what he asked for.
Yep. Gives a whole new meaning to the term lawsuit.
Just the way we planned.
And we'll take care of those payments. Make them pay what they cost you. That's terrible.
Ridiculous. Today, you are the jury on a civil case. Most of the time when we think of someone being on trial, we think it's because they broke the law. But a civil case is different. Civil cases settle disputes between people who can't reach an agreement out of court. Usually it involves someone being injured. They're called the plaintiff. In this case, the plaintiff is the emperor, and he's seeking damages from the persons who injured him. They're called the defendants. See them sitting over there? That's Swin and Del. They're the tailors who were hired by the emperor. Okay, in a civil case, the jury must decide two things. One, if the defendants are liable or not liable, and two, if the defendants are liable, how much money should be given to the plaintiff. Oh, I see the judges here. Time for me to do my thing. I'm the bailiff, and no trial gets started until I say, all rise. The Circuit Court of the town of Haberdash is now in session with the Honorable Judge Perry Bell presiding.
Please be seated. This is the case of the Emperor of Gawdia suing Miss Swin and Mr. Del for fraud and misrepresentation. The Emperor is also seeking $1 million in damages for mental distress and anguish. The defendants contend that they never gave the Emperor false statements and that the Emperor caused his own predicament.
Fraud and misrepresentation, mental distress and anguish. What do they mean? Well, fraud means intentionally lying to someone, causing them to suffer a loss. Misrepresentation means lying about a product or service you're trying to sell someone. We'll discuss mental distress later.
I will now hear opening statements. Plaintiff's attorney, do you wish to proceed?
Yes, thank you. Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, in this case we will show that His Majesty was royally deceived by the defendants Ms. Swin and Mr. Del. They approached His Majesty with a fantastic claim that they could create clothes which could not be found anywhere else in the entire world. They lied about the cloth they were weaving. They continued to lie when they presented His Majesty with clothes which they claimed were unique and fashionable. Ladies and gentlemen, there was no cloth. There were no clothes. We will show that the defendants lied about their skills, and they took money from His Majesty for materials they never used. But what is worst of all is they caused His Majesty great emotional distress and cost him $1 million in medical fees. Thank you.
Attorney for the defense, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the claim against my clients is preposterous. They are simple tailors out to make a living. The Emperor begged my clients to produce clothes that would be talked about throughout the world, that would put his empire on the map. Swin and Del granted the Emperor his wish. And now he wants his money back? If the Emperor was a victim, he was a victim of his own huge ego. This was a simple business transaction, and the Emperor got what he paid for. Thank you.
Is the plaintiff ready? And if so, would you call your first witness?
Yes, Your Honor, the plaintiff is ready. I would like to call His Majesty the Emperor to the stand.
Would you please remove the scepter from your right hand and raise it for me? No, I mean raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
You may be seated.
Would you state your name for the record?
I can't remember. People have called me Emperor for so long I can't remember my name.
Well, what if we just call you Emperor?
Yes, that's fine.
Where did you meet the defendants, Swin and Dell?
I heard that there were 2 new tailors in town, and that they could make the most extraordinary clothes. Well, I just had to meet them.
Did they come to the castle?
Yes, they came right away, and I told them I would give them almost anything I had if they could make clothes for me that would startle the audience and make them stare at me in awe.
What happened then?
They requested the best gold thread and the best silk thread I could buy. I gave them a place to work and 2 big looms to work with.
Did they make cloth from the thread?
Well, that's what they said they were doing. I could hear the looms working, but they would not let me see the cloth.
And what happened then?
Well, the tailors explained to me that the cloth they were making could not be seen by stupid people or people who could not do their jobs. I was afraid I would not be able to see the cloth, so I sent my chief minister to check on the progress of the tailors.
And what did the chief minister report?
He reported that it was the most beautiful cloth he had ever seen.
Did you go to see the cloth then?
No, I was still afraid I would not be able to see the cloth, so I sent my second chief minister. She reported the same thing as the first chief minister, that the cloth was exquisite.
So, then you went to see Swin and Dell.
Yes, both chief ministers went with me and exclaimed how lovely the cloth was. I must admit I didn't see anything, but I did not dare say a word. I gave the tailors medals for what they had done and requested that they make a suit for me out of the cloth so that I may wear it in the parade.
Did you go to the parade dressed in the alleged new clothes?
Surprisingly enough, I did. I ordered 2 noblemen to follow me and carry my cape as I walked. These dummies actually followed me the whole way, acting like they were holding something.
And what happened at the parade?
Well, I certainly had the attention of all my subjects. For a while, everyone exclaimed how lovely my new clothes were. Suddenly, some lousy brat kid yelled out that my underwear looked real white for royalty. Slowly, it came to my attention that the crowd was looking at a mostly naked emperor. It was extremely embarrassing. I was so upset I spent 96 hours of my precious time talking to some quack, doctor. Would you believe I spent close to $1 million for this doctor to tell me I was emotionally distressed? I was even more distressed after getting his bill.
Thank you. No further questions.
Does the defense wish to cross-examine the witness?
Yes, Your Honor. You really get a thrill out of new clothes, don't you, Your Worship?
Yes, I do.
And you have even had a new set of clothes for every hour of the day. Isn't that true, Your Imperialness?
Objection! Your Honor, I object to these nasty names being used on my client.
I have not heard anything that is not fitting for the Emperor. Objection overruled.
Thank you. Please answer the question, Your Loftiness.
Why, yes, I do have some beautiful clothes.
And isn't it a fact it was you who called the weavers to your court when you heard they made the most magnificent clothes in the entire empire?
Well, I don't remember if they called on my court or if I sent for them.
And isn't it a fact that every eye was on you at the parade, Your Magnificence?
Well, they were, but I was...
I have no more questions for this witness.
You may step down. Plaintiff, call your next witness.
I call the child that noticed the almost naked emperor at the parade.
Would the child who noticed the almost naked emperor at the parade please step forward? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of law?
Sure do.
You may be seated.
would you tell the court what happened at the parade the day the Emperor was showing his invisible clothes?
Well, I was looking forward to a nice break from school, it being a holiday, and going down to the market to watch the jesters with my friends.
Did you go to the market?
Nah, Mom decided we should all go down to the parade and watch the dumb Emperor and his dumb new clothes. Dad wanted to go to the moat show, but then Mom started to cry.
So you went to the parade?
Yes, it was really boring with those knights in armor and those guys with horns so long they dragged on the ground. We had to stand there forever.
And what about the Emperor?
That was the neat part. He came walking by wearing nothing but white shorts. I was laughing so hard I thought I would burst. Dad kept telling me to stop. Those dumb grown-ups were all saying how beautiful the new clothes were.
What happened then?
Well, when I stopped laughing, I yelled out, "The Emperor is really out there naked. The guy doesn't have any clothes on."
What did everybody do?
Well, everyone kind of looked at me, and then at the Emperor, and all went silent. Those so-called smart adults finally began whispering how they really knew the Emperor didn't have any clothes on. It was as clear as the nose on your face that he didn't.
Thank you. No further questions.
I have no questions for this witness.
You may step down. Are there any other witnesses for the plaintiff?
Yes, Your Honor. I would like to call Dr. Ziggy Fried as an expert medical witness for the plaintiff.
Expert medical witness? What for? Well, the Emperor has claimed he has suffered from severe emotional distress as a result of the conduct of the defendants. In order for the Emperor to be awarded any damages for emotional distress, his attorney must bring in an expert to back up his story. Let's see what the fine doctor has to say.
Would Dr. Fried please step forward to be sworn in? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
You may be seated.
Can you state your full name and occupation for the record?
My name is Dr. Ziggy Fried, and I am a psychiatrist.
Could you tell us a little about your credentials as a psychiatrist?
I am board certified with a specialty in nudity and embarrassment issues. I studied for 10 years under the head of the shame department at Mount Mental Hospital, and I have worked with patients in this area for 20 years.
And what about the Emperor?
I spent over 96 hours in consultation with the Emperor after the parade fiasco.
Your Honor, I move to admit this witness as an expert in the field of psychiatry and emotional distress.
I object, Your Honor. His specialty is with people, not with emperors. Emperors are a very different area.
I find his credentials qualify him to testify as an expert on the level of shame and embarrassment felt by the Emperor. Objection overruled.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, Doctor, you testified earlier that you had spent 96 hours in consultation with the Emperor. Exactly how did you diagnose the Emperor was suffering from emotional distress? Did you run any tests?
Oh, no. You see, there are no tests to diagnose emotional distress. A doctor must simply talk to the patient and find out what events took place to cause the distress and what symptoms that patient is now suffering as a result of those events. If the symptoms and the events are severe enough, then the patient is diagnosed as suffering from emotional distress.
Exactly what were the Emperor's symptoms?
Well, he was extremely agitated, and he was yelling at everyone around him. And, well, he just couldn't seem to find any clothes to put on.
And, Doctor, what exactly were your medical fees for consulting with the Emperor?
My fees were $1 million.
Thank you. No further questions.
Does the defense wish to cross-examine this witness?
Yes, Your Honor. Dr. Fried, besides looking somewhat annoyed and embarrassed, not to mention almost naked, what other symptoms did the Emperor display on his visit to your office on the day of that big parade?
Well, that was really it. He was very angry and upset, and his blood pressure was way beyond normal.
The Emperor is no longer displaying medical symptoms of emotional distress. Isn't that correct?
Yes, the Emperor is just fine.
So, your treatment of the Emperor has been completed?
Yes, it has, and he even paid his bill on time.
I have no further questions for this witness, Your Honor.
Any redirect?
No, Your Honor. The plaintiff rests.
Very well. Counsel for the defendants, you may call your first witness.
I call the Chief Minister.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of law?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
You may be seated.
Okay.
Mr. Chief Minister, were you the first to see the Emperor's new clothes?
Well, I guess you could say that, yeah.
What did you see?
Well, I kind of forgot how this all really happened. I kind of forgot.
What did you tell the Emperor?
I reported to the Emperor that the cloth was the most beautiful I'd ever seen, but
Thank you. I have nothing further for this witness, but I would like to call the second Chief Minister if there are no objections.
I have a question for this witness, Your Honor.
Go ahead, counsel.
Is this the cloth you reported you saw? And remember, you're under oath to tell the truth.
Yes, that is the cloth I reported I saw.
Your Honor, I'd ask the court to take judicial notice that I am holding up absolutely nothing. Nothing at all.
Judicial notice taken that the plaintiff's counsel is holding up absolutely nothing.
Whoa, whoa, wait a second. They're taking judicial notice of absolutely nothing? What does that mean? Well, it means that the judge recognizes the fact that the plaintiff's counsel is holding up absolutely nothing. So the plaintiff's counsel doesn't have to prove there is nothing there because the judge knows for a fact that there is nothing there. So in court, even nothing is something.
I would now like to call the second Chief Minister to the stand.
Chief Minister, you may step down. Second Chief Minister, please come forward. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of law?
Yes, I do.
You may be seated.
Second Chief Minister, you were the second to see the cloth for the new clothes, were you not?
Well, it was kind of dark in the room. You know, it isn't very easy to describe what you've seen after a couple of days have passed.
Thank you.
Your Honor, I have a question for this witness.
Go ahead.
Second Chief Minister, you didn't see any cloth at all, did you?
Objection, Your Honor. Counsel is yelling at my witness.
Objection sustained. Counsel, please stop yelling at this witness. You will speak to the witness in the proper tone of voice in my courtroom.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
That's better. Now, Second Chief Minister, you may answer the question.
No, I didn't.
No further questions for this witness, Your Honor.
This witness is excused. Next witness, counsel.
I now call Ms. Swin, the defendant, to the stand.
Ms. Swin, please come forward and be sworn in. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of law?
Yeah, Your Honor.
You may be seated.
Ms. Swin, please state your full name and occupation for the court.
My name is Shifty Swin, and obviously I'm a tailor.
And how did you meet his lordship?
The Emperor called on us because Dell and I started circulating rumors that if we had the finest silk and thread in the world, and money for ourselves, we could make the best clothes in the world. You can't live without advertising in today's business world.
And did you go to the Emperor?
We sure did. The Emperor bragged about his clothes for about an hour. Then he said that he wanted us to make him a new suit for the parade. He said he wanted to be the talk of the town. He wanted his empire to be famous for new fashion.
Did he describe specifically what kind of suit he wanted?
The Emperor said he wanted a suit that could not be found anywhere else in the world. That's when I got the idea for the Emperor's new clothes.
Did you tell Dell about it?
Well, I whispered the idea in his ear,
and he agreed that it certainly would make the Emperor the talk of the town. Dell has been a fashion designer in Paris, Berlin, and he even fitted the King of England once with some pajamas. He is my fashion expert.
What happened then?
Dell took it over from there because he is the leader of medieval fashion.
Thank you. I have no more questions.
Cross-examination?
Yes, Your Honor. You didn't tell the Emperor that you had no intention of making any clothes at all, did you, Ms. Swin?
No. We thought it was such a good idea we didn't want it to leak out to the other empires. We didn't want some other tailors to beat us to the punch.
I have no more questions.
You may step down. Next witness.
I call the court jester.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
You may be seated.
Would you please state your name for the court?
My name is Court Jester.
Are you a client of Swin and Dell?
Now, where else do you think I'd get such ridiculous-looking clothing? All of the court jesters are clients of Swin and Dell's. That's why we all look so silly.
And have the defendants ever misrepresented to you as to the type of clothing they produce?
Nope, they told me they were going to make me ridiculous-looking clothing, and as you can see, they made me ridiculous-looking clothing.
So, they never lied to you about the quality of their work or about their capabilities as tailors?
Nope, I've always been able to rely on them to make me look like a fool. That's their specialty.
Thank you. I have nothing further for this witness.
Any cross-examination?
No, Your Honor. I think this jester's clothing speaks for itself.
Next witness.
I now call Mr. Dell, the co-defendant, to the stand.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
Please be seated.
Mr. Dell, please state your name and occupation for the record.
My name is Poser Dell, and as Miss Swin was telling you, I am an expert fashion designer, a weaver, and recently head of design for the Emperor.
Did you tell the Emperor that only stupid people or people who did not do their jobs would not be able to see the new clothes?
I wanted the new design and clothing idea to remain a secret until the unveiling during the parade. Sure enough, the ministers who came to see the new clothes acted like they could see it and told the Emperor how beautiful the new cloth was.
What about when the Emperor saw the cloth?
The Emperor seemed ecstatic about the new suit of clothes, or lack thereof. He complimented us as if we were the most marvelous tailors in the world. The Emperor knew, as well as I did, that there weren't any clothes, and that the new design really meant that he would be naked.
Did you really believe that people would accept your new fashion design?
If the Emperor wanted something unlike anything else in this world, I had to come up with something special, did I not?
No further questions.
I'd like to cross-examine.
Go ahead, counsel.
Mr. Dell, you and your partner, Ms. Swin, kept the money, thread, and silk, even though you didn't do any work, didn't you?
The Emperor paid me for my talent in clothes design. He received the best I had to offer.
Mr. Dell, you were just lying to the Emperor all along so that you could keep the money, weren't you?
I was not.
No further questions for this witness.
Any redirect, counsel?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Dell, what exactly did the Emperor request that you do?
He asked me to give him something extraordinary, and I accomplished the task. I don't know why he is so unhappy with us.
Thank you. No further questions.
Counsel for the plaintiff?
I have no more questions, Your Honor.
In that case, the defense rests.
I will now hear closing statements. Would the plaintiff please begin?
Thank you, Your Honor. Ladies and gentlemen, the defendants have created a completely unbelievable story. They would have you believe that they were sincere in their efforts to create a new design in clothing. No one could possibly believe that the emperor in his underwear would be a new fad in clothing. The defendants defrauded the emperor and misrepresented their true intentions. As for our claim of emotional distress, put yourself in the emperor's shoes. Imagine being in the biggest public parade of the year wearing only your underwear. Then you can appreciate the extent of the emperor's distress. The defendants, and only the defendants, are responsible for that distress. I demand that you award the emperor $1 million in damages. Thank you.
Defense, please present your closing arguments.
Yes, Your Honor. Ladies and gentlemen, the plaintiff's attorney left out a few things that are critical to this case. The emperor is the clothes nut, not the defendants. It is he who requested the clothes be unique in all the world. It is he who decided to go to the parade in his underwear. It is not the fault of the defendants that the emperor loves clothes so much he can't see reality. He received the undivided attention of all his subjects. He received what he paid for, period. Ultimately, his emotional distress was caused by his own foolish behavior, not that of the defendants. The defendants are not at fault here, only the emperor and his fragile ego. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, it is now for you to decide. If you find that the defendants misrepresented the existence of the new clothes and committed fraud on the emperor, then you must decide in favor of the plaintiff. You must also determine whether or not the emperor suffered from emotional distress as a result of the conduct of the defendants. If you do find in favor of the plaintiff, you must then decide how much in damages are to be paid. The emperor is requesting $1 million in damages. You must determine how much money in damages he is entitled to. On the other hand, if you find that the defendants really believed they had discovered a new clothing design and gave the emperor everything he requested, then you must find in the defendant's favor and make no judgment on damages.
Now it's up to you to make your decision based on the facts presented in the case. Think very carefully about all the testimony and evidence that was presented. Listen to the opinions of your fellow jurors and make your own opinions known. Then come up with a fair and just verdict.